Hi, welcome to this week's sketchbook tour. Today it's going to be a book from the beginning of the year, and it's a doodle book. So what I mean by that is a lot of these sketches, if not all of the sketches, are just from imagination, so no references used. It's a little bit messy in places. There's a few sort of ideas that didn't really turn out quite right. Although I say ideas, a lot of the time I just end up drawing, I suppose like automatic drawing, in that it's just see what happens when I put the pen on the paper. Much like this, the first page. No particular initial thought went into it. It was just a case of I was drawing a lot of faces at the time. So started with a face and then started adding some extra details from there. Yeah, I think it was a very early morning. I think I'd woken up like at 3 o'clock or something like that, and ended up doing about 10 pages in this book. Well, that's how it felt anyway. I don't actually know how many I did. What's happened here? There we go. So yeah, this is another one from that particular morning. And again, it's just a random sort of sketch. Don't necessarily plan to do all that much with some of these, although some of them will be going on Redbubble next week, if you like any of these particular designs. This one, I think I was trying to harpen back to a sort of like, I suppose you could call it an older style. I mean, I don't really feel like I've got a style, but people tell me that I do. But trying to harpen back to things that I was doing maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I think, so this is still from the same morning. And I think I'd recently put up a tell me what to draw kind of thing. So inviting people to give me some prompts or something that they'd like to see me doodle. And I think one of them was an alien. So I sort of did an alien skeleton thing. And it was around this time that I was playing around with figures and perspective. Still trying to get a little bit better with that. These are things that I sort of started but then fell out of favour with. There's a lot of that in this book, especially towards the end. This is an idea that I originally, well, again, I say an idea, it was just started off as like the fish or a head, and then started moving on to this coral thing, and I really liked it up until about here, I think. I mean, it's a while ago, but yeah, I think I'd added too much detail, or it wasn't, I don't know, I like simple, if you can't already tell. Again, this is all from the same morning. I remember quite liking this one. It felt like a true automatic drawing in a sense, and got a few cartoony elements in there, which is something that I'm hoping to incorporate a little bit more into these sort of drawings. It's been a while since I've done any sort of doodle, like a doodle sketchbook. So I think I might start one up again soon. I've also been doing a lot of character studies in terms of other people's characters, so well-known IP, especially Studio Ghibli. So I'm looking forward to sort of incorporating a bit of that kind of style into things. I don't want to rip anyone off, but for the longest time I've been drawing a lot of things from photographs or from real life, as in like sort of real life studies, me simplifying things, and never really thought to draw other artists or other, like I say, famous character, to get inspiration, to learn how to simplify things, how to go about using shapes. So I think this is still from that same morning. I mean, this book didn't take me long to fill. Sort of when I get in the mood, I'll just draw for hours and hours and hours. Here's some hands without a reference. I think again, maybe the month before I'd drawn a lot of hands, and I was just sort of seeing what had filtered in. So again, just experimenting. Now I think this is might be where it cut off. So this was maybe the day after or whenever. So someone had asked me to do some ogres. So it's not something I'd ever really drawn before, so I had a little go. Again, without a reference, I sort of guessed a lot of stuff, so they're probably not quite right. Although it's all down to interpretation anyway, isn't it? And again, I think for the most of the rest of this book, it might be those tell me what to draw kind of prompts. Well, I think there might be a few other random things in there. So again, I think a cat in fancy dress maybe. Playing around with different animals. Pig. And again, without a reference, which is why some of the things are a bit funky looking, but I'm not going for realism. And I kind of, if you can do something that's slightly abstract, it becomes a bit more characterful when it comes to these sort of things, I think. So again, this is sort of a better version of that last thing. Experimenting with different animals again. Snake, someone had asked me to draw a snake. It took me a few goes to get a few things right. But I kind of like that one. It's a bit derpy. Again, if I was to do this, maybe I'd push the shoulders a bit more over that way a little bit. Some faces, Medusa type thing. Another go at that coral reef thing. So I suppose I did have an initial idea for that. It's me trying to do it again. Again, I don't think I succeeded. Sort of like a jellyfish dress person. So these ones are just doodles. I've got no prompt. So lots of ears. Yeah, lots of hands. So again, trying to use those hand studies that I've done and sort of implicate it into a thing. But again, it was just I'm just randomly drawing, and then by the time you maybe put the first few hands up, you think, oh well, that's just going to be, you know, someone smothered by hands. Some sort of cyberpunk thing. Another go at some ogres. Not very happy with these. And I can tell when I'm rushing, these definitely look rushed. That looks rushed. I'm not taking my time. And this is where I start to get a lot of blank spaces. So again, I think this might be a day where I just sort of had a few hours, and if something doesn't work straight away, I might try it a couple more times, and then if half the page is filled, then I'll usually move on to something else. Now, it's not something I typically do now. I try and use as much space as I can. And maybe my idea was to sort of go back and fill in some of these blank spaces. I think someone asked me to do someone with a long neck. So that's what a lot of these things are. Then I moved on to a Pentel Brush Pen. So some dragons. So someone asked me to draw a dragon. And someone asked me to do some guitars. Or guitarists. So that's... And again, no reference. I mean, I had that prompt, so I knew what I was aiming towards, but... So Someone asked me to draw some toads. And I think I'm back onto the alien things. So I vaguely remember doing these all in one night. So I think this sketchbook only lasted me like 3 days. Because when I'm in the mood to do these sort of things, I'll just do it for hours. Someone asked me to do Logan or Wolverine. I'm going to go with some elves by the looks of it. I think someone asked me to do Rocket Raccoon, but I don't really know the character very well, so without using a reference, it's quite tricky to do that. Some failed starts at things. Another cyberpunk type thing. I mean, it'd been a little while since I've used a brush pen, so I think I was getting used to that a little bit as well. So, but I remember really enjoying it. It'd been months since I'd used one. I remember being really happy with this one, especially the house. Again, without using a reference, I'm so used to drawing faces and bodies to an extent, but landscape stuff I'm not. So I was pretty happy with that. All my shape practice had paid off. Remember, this was one I originally decided to sort of scrap, and then I went back to it and tried to fill in a few bits. And I actually really like it, because I liked the head. It was just that I'd messed up this bit, but I just blacked it out and started doing some strange things. I'm going to go with some helmets. This is one that I ended up overworking. It was, yeah, I think I tried to cover up something, but it went too far. But also, you know, it's an excuse to play around with blacking things out, which is something I don't typically do, but I do like the look of. So, dancer with lots of legs. Get a failed start. Genie, who I actually remember really liking. I feel like I kind of messed up it looks very 2D, but I remember quite liking him. I kind of like his face, actually, but I don't know why I stopped. Maybe it wasn't working for me at the time. Playing around with some grey, which I have, but I always find it's really dark. Something I want to practice a little bit more. I'm getting more and more interested in doing more tonal and rendering style things. I want to maybe concentrate on something that's a bit more than a sketch, or a bit more than just a quick study. I'm going to go with some apes. Quite like him. The rest of him don't quite work. But lady with a teddy bear rucksack thing. Some guy. I think I was trying to maybe use the grey first as an underdrawing, but it's been so long since I've done anything like an underdrawing. It throws me off a little bit. And that's it. So that's the doodle book. I've not really had one since. I mean, in a sense, some of the character studies that I've shared on one of these stores before are kind of like that, but this is very much more an experimenting type of thing. Experimental, maybe? I don't know. So yeah, that was one of my doodle books. And it is an older book, so I think a few weeks ago I said in one of these that I want to keep these more as current sketchbook tour type things to show off my current work. But I've not really done all that much, or I've not done sort of enough that I feel like it would fill one of these videos up. Now, I have been working a lot on, as I've said before, Studio Ghibli stuff, so I'll probably share that next week. But let me know, do you want to see more old work, or do you want to see newer things, or are you happy with me just picking things as and when? So yeah, that's it. That's the end of the tour, I suppose. I suppose there is a few other things to sort of mention. So next week I plan to carry on with those Studio Ghibli things, and I'm also going to do a prompts list that is available for anyone to join in if they want to join in, and I think that's going to be something that I continue to do through to next month, and then I might do a study list, a prompts list to do with animals, because that was something else that I was planning to do this week, and I didn't really manage to do all too much. I'm still in the process of moving house, so that's slowing me down a little bit. But yeah, again, let me know if prompt lists in the style of what's it called, Inktober, are useful to you. I know I typically prepare what it is I'm going to study next beforehand, so I find things like that useful. I don't usually join in with other people's, but I do sort of do those things myself. So fine, if you want to join in, I'm going to start sharing it later on today, and let me know if there are things that you're kind of interested in. Yeah, and that's it. I'll leave it there. Again, I ramble on at the end, don't I? But I suppose it doesn't matter. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Do consider liking this video. It does help, apparently. So I'm not very good at selling these sort of things, am I? But yeah, like the video. A comment would be nice. Share it if you think someone would be interested. I'm on Instagram. Follow me there. And let me know what you'd like to see next. All right. So take it easy and be good to yourself. I'll see you next week. Toodaloo.